Okay, Fuzion-X Maverick. Fuzion-X Maverick. Zac Melton Fuzion-X Maverick. Yep. Yeah, I think this time I'll try to give it a little bit more hyzer. See what happens. Or maybe I'll give one hyzer and try to throw a turnover with the other. I'm gonna go hyzer on this one. Yeah, wow. Yeah, a big sweeping hyzer, but that thing did not really try to flip up to flat at all. Plenty of glide though. Yeah, that was rather interesting. Yeah, that was pretty interesting for a Maverick flight. These are pretty overstable for a Maverick. It felt more like a newer Gold Line Explorer almost, or at least it looked like that. I'm going to throw another Fuzion-X Maverick, Zac Melton Fuzion-X Maverick. This time I'm going to try to get some turn out of it. I'm going to throw a little bit of anhyzer out to the left and give it some air and see if I can get it to drift from left to right and maybe pan out a little bit. That is sick. Wow. All right, that was really cool. That felt great. I didn't really exaggerate the turn and the anhyzer, but it was more, yeah, a little bit more of a subdued anhyzer turnover shot, but the disc, I gave it enough air and the disc flexed out and finished, hit the ground on a hyzer angle. So yeah, that's going to be a rather versatile disc, I believe. Again, not much like that one. Since I forced it over just a tiny bit, it did have a little bit of turn at the beginning of the flight, but nothing quite like you would expect from most other Mavericks. So out of the box, that disc has a lot of life in it. Okay, Fuzion-X EMac Truth. This is actually my Tour Series disc. Just kidding. That'd be funny. Fuzion-X EMac Truth. I'm gonna try to get a flex out of this one and see what that looks like. See if I can get a little bit more of experience and wisdom about the flight of the disc, and so I can then determine how much anhyzer will affect the landing and the hyzer angle on the landing. Holy moly. Yeah, wow. Very overstable. Very overstable. But again, it doesn't really, it has a little bit less glide than the Verdicts, and a little bit less glide than I would expect from most other EMac Truths. So again, that really affects the lateral movement of the disc. I threw it pretty straight with a bit of anhyzer, and it moved from left to right, back to left, but not more than maybe 10 feet in either direction. I guess I'll go try to get that same kind of flex line. Start it with some anhyzer and see what happens. Yeah. Pretty nice, yeah. Those two, one seems a bit more overstable than the other, which is kind of interesting. But yeah, rather overstable for an EMac Truth, pretty overstable. Fuzion-X Verdict, Chris Clemons, Fuzion-X Verdict. I'll throw Anheuser angle again and see what that flex line looks like on this disc. Yeah, wow. Not bad. Again, a little, yeah. That one has like the typical stability, overstability for a Verdict, I imagine. I don't throw too many Verdicts, but that one did act pretty overstable. I did throw with a bit of Anheuser, and it got a decent amount of glide. Overstable. Again, pretty overstable finish right at the end of the flight. Yeah. Fuzion-X Felon. Eric Oakley Fuzion-X Felon. This one, this time I'm gonna throw these with some power grip. Try to, again, get a little bit more power behind the disc and see how it reacts to more snap rather than more spin. Whoa, skipping. Just skipping like crazy. Wow. Yeah, I mean, I kind of turfed it with some Anheuser, and it still was skipping, so that must have meant that it hit the ground with a little bit of hyzer angle. So I think that just means that, yeah, these things are pretty overstable. I want to say after a few throws, Eric had compared these to the prototype Lucid Felons and that overstability. And yeah, I think he's kind of spot on with that. So I'm going to throw this Fuzion-X Felon with a little bit of power grip and a little bit of Anheuser. Try to see how it fights out of an Anheuser release with some power. Oh yeah, it fought. That had a lot of power, a lot of forward torque, and a pretty decent amount of Anheuser, and I didn't really give it much room to fight out of that Anheuser, and yet it still did, and still had a lot of hyzer once it hit the ground to get that fast left-moving skip. So Fuzion-X Felon, pretty overstable. I mean, all these Fuzion-X discs have been overstable counterparts to maybe their Fusion or Lucid counterparts. So yeah, I'm pretty impressed. I think I was very much so looking forward to throwing the Fuzion-X Maverick, and yeah, that one with its absence of high-speed turn kind of shocked me a little bit, and I think that it could open up a new slot, or at least a new slot in the player's bag, or at least in the mind. So that's going to be interesting to play around with in the off season and the next few months. All those Fuzion-X discs will be available on Thursday, October 21st at 11 a.m. Central at dynamicdiscs.com or your favorite local retailer. See ya.